The 10 most capitalistic countries in the world are Hong Kong, number 1, Singapore, number 2, New Zealand, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, and the United States, tied for number 3, Australia and Canada, tied for number 7, and Ireland and Luxembourg, tied for number 9. The three functions of government in a free capitalistic country are to provide a military force to protect the country from foreign attack, to provide police to protect citizens from assault, arson, fraud, theft, homicide, and other common law crimes, and to provide courts to administer criminal laws, protect property rights, enforce contracts, and settle disputes. A small national sales tax would be one possible way to raise necessary revenues instead of a complex and intrusive income tax. In a free society, all businesses, including schools and post offices, are privately owned. Welfare is handled by churches and private citizens to the maximum extent workable and practical. Capitalism is based on Thomas Jefferson's belief that the government which governs least governs best. Jefferson wrote that the role of government is to restrain men from injuring one another and leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement. Jefferson would have agreed with Ronald Reagan that government is not the solution to the problem, government is the problem. The Founding Fathers guaranteed political rights to all Americans: the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to own property and to trade freely, the freedoms of religion, speech, press, and assembly. Notice that these political rights do not involve the use of force against other members of society. President Franklin Roosevelt in 1941, in his State of the Union address to Congress, introduced what he called a second Bill of Rights, a so-called economic Bill of Rights, including the right to a remunerative job, the right to earn enough to provide adequate food, clothing, and recreation, the right to a decent home, the right to adequate medical care, the right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment, the right to a good education. Ayn Rand's book, Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal, explains the fallacy of so-called economic rights and why capitalism is the only just and moral economic system. Education, jobs, homes, and health care do not exist in a state of nature. They require effort and creativity to produce. When someone asserts a right to an education, a home, or to health care, the question is, at whose expense? If some men are entitled by right to the products of the work of others, it means that those others are deprived of rights and condemned to slave labor. There can be no such thing as the right to enslave.